Welcome to our channel Lightling Vision. Today Mother will continue with part 3 on the subject of suffering, pain, depression. Particularly today we will talk about when you finished on the video, the second video, you mentioned that it's better to suffer on earth than before we go on the other side.
Yes.
It's better to suffer here than
on the other side.
Yes. So can you please explain that for us, Mother?
Yes.
Thank you.
I will try. I said that somebody who is in a depression, for instance, one day meets something like a dead point in himself. And on that moment, the life force that streams through each one of us, the vital force, or the spirit if you want to, has a last chance to bring this person alive again, to make this person face the challenge in his life that he has to face. When the person grasps that moment, accepts that last challenge that is given to him or her, you will see that an enormous strength will come up, and a positive outcome will be the result, even if it will take some time. But the person is walking back again, or onwards again, towards a solution, towards a creative outcome. That's to say that the pain the person feels at this dead point, even when a life force comes up and makes him react in a positive way, it comes together with the great pain that comes up again. As I already told you, the numbness has been overcome at that moment, and life streams again. But with life, pain comes up. If the person accepts that and goes into the pain in a last temptation to solve the difficulty, everything goes all right. If the person can still not face it, she might, in one way or another, commit suicide, or let herself die, or let the candle go out. But that is not the best solution, even though we should not even then be dramatic about it. If a person leaves his body, comes on the other side, and then sees that for some kind of reason has not had that he or she has not had the strength to face the trials in her life, that will create a suffering. The suffering of incapacity, the suffering of having been too weak, or not enough equipped, or having lacked effort or courage to do what was the best to be done. And that suffering that you live on the other side of the veil, on the level of the consciousness of your soul, is bigger. Why is it bigger? Because you don't have the means at that moment to repair and to do it better and to do it again. You have to wait for next occasion, and that's what we call reincarnation, to have a new chance. And that suffering of incapacity, of not being able to act at that moment, is bigger. That's why it's better to accept the challenge and the pain at this moment. You can also say that whatever trial you're given, it's like being in a school. When you're normally the level you're at school, you should be able to deal with the questions and the difficulties that come up. Well, that's for a human being the same thing. So normally, there are only very few exceptions on that rule, normally everybody is able to face the challenge. If the person withdraws in weakness, or lack of effort, or lack of courage, well, that's a personal problem, that a supplementary problem that comes up, but that has nothing to do basically with what is asked from him. What is asked from us is always at the height of our capacities. Now, if we come back on your first question, the suffering on earth and seeing other people suffer, this also, as I already said, needs a very deeper understanding of life. And I think that you cannot solve this problem without the reality of reincarnation. Without the reality of reincarnation, everything is unjust. Everything is unjust. Which is not a reason to treat reincarnation as a way of saying, well, if that happens to you, that it means that you merit it, and well, it's well done for you. You've got what you asked for. That's not the way to deal with it. That has nothing to do with the compassion that we should learn here. It has to do with understanding. So reincarnation means having a way to understand better. Because I already said, modern man cannot do anymore with the idea, well, this is the will of God. We have an intellect, we want to understand. Now, reincarnation is a tool, a reality. It's not just a tool an artificial tool. It's a reality. We better try to understand and accept. So then you can understand what's happening without judging, or without being in a revolt, saying, yes, well, it should not exist. Yes, it exists, because, and that's the main factor I would like to explain, in what we see as injustice, in difficult situations, through our eyes, the other person is dealing with limitation, with some kind of hits of destiny that seem unjust, painful, create limitation. But if you look at it from a deeper level, you will see that what you think unjust has basically nothing to do with being just or not. And that is what's beautiful. It has to do with a kind of wisdom that is hidden in this what I call cosmic intelligence. A wisdom that is built in that situation that is necessary to prevent the person or the persons to do things that would harm them from a spiritual point of view. If you see certain people living in countries with few material means, I'm not talking about the disequilibrium that installed in our world because some people have too much money and others have nothing. That has basically nothing to do with it, because that is human intervention in a natural law. I'm talking about countries where people, even in a natural way, have abundancy, but not necessarily material wealth. If you look at tribes that still live in natural conditions, which is has almost died out on Earth. But you can imagine perhaps still that situation that existed still before. People living in completely natural conditions can live in abundancy. They can have food, they can have building materials, shelter, they can make their own clothes, they can be happy on the level of their understanding and I would say their level of consciousness, which we should not judge. If we look at that and we say, well, the poor things, they don't have a car, that means that we don't see the things in their reality from a spiritual point of view. Because if you give suddenly to those people money and you install shops where they can buy all kinds of things, what you will see come up is that they cannot deal with that situation. They will buy with their money the first day everything they can find in the shop. They will eat too much, they will be sick, and there will be no money left. And that's what I call the wisdom behind limitation. The conditions those people lived in naturally had abundancy. An abundancy they could handle, they could deal with. But if you suddenly with your eyes say, well, they don't have anything, they don't have a car, they don't have a television, and you give them the money to buy those things, then you will suddenly see that nothing is added to their lives that is positive. It will harm them. They can't handle something like money. They will waste it the first day they receive it on all kinds of things they don't need. And I'm not only talking about the television and the car, but all kinds of things you put in front of them they can buy. And they will not be more happy. They were happy in the situations they were in before. Now this is the first thing we have to learn when we look at the world and we have compassion for other people. It's good to have compassion, but don't touch the situation. And try to understand. Because you will see that real compassion has nothing to do with having or having not material wealth. It has to do with, can this person make the best out of the situation that he's naturally living in. Now another difficulty will come up. That is, the situation you're naturally living in is not so natural anymore. That's to say, the injustice that we see around us has been created by man and not by God. If we would have taken off our hands, our money, our understanding, which is no understanding at all, from many phenomena in this world, then we would see that naturally things would be very all right. But it's our behavior, few on this earth that have too much, and then suddenly many do not have enough. This intervention of man, this lack of understanding, this greed, has created already an imbalance. And all the rest is coming afterwards. It's only the consequence of that. So what we see nowadays are all kinds of unjust situations that have been created by ourselves. Whereas normally there would be far less injustice. No injustice. Only situations that would have been at the height of the possibilities of that person, of that individual, of that soul to grow.
Thank you, Mother, for these eye-opening explanations. Yes, so please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. And please write us your comments. We really like to read all of them. And we will see you at the next video. So have a good day.
Sometimes you walk on a narrow path. You look around you, no one to see. Sometimes you walk on a road so small. You look around you, there's just a view. And all your trials, they seem to weigh upon your shoulders so heavily. What does it mean? And all your efforts to make it better do not work in spite of your goodwill. What can it be? Don't be afraid if the darkness comes. It's the night that precedes the day's return. Don't be afraid if the darkness comes. It's the night that precedes the day's return. when you accept that there is a sense behind your struggles. Don't try to flee. There is a power that guides your path. It knows the outcome undoubtedly. Don't look around you. Don't seek the answers where they can't be found. They aren't there. It cannot be. It's by your prayers in which you ask for truth and face yourself sincerely. You will find peace. The darkness comes, it's the night that precedes the day's return. Don't be afraid if the darkness comes, it's the night that precedes the day's return. Don't be afraid, it's the night that precedes the day's return. Oh, don't be afraid if the darkness comes, it's the night that precedes light's victory.